What's your driving force in life? What gets you to do something? What gets you out of bed? How do you speak to yourself when you need to do something? Do you oftentimes find yourself saying things like, I have to go do this thing, I need to go do that, or I should be doing this instead of that? Now, you might not think words make a huge difference. You might think that it doesn't matter that much. But I really want to encourage you guys to be more mindful of how you talk to yourself, because it really all does start from there. Our internal dialogue, our belief system. And how does that all affect our nervous system? If we're speaking to ourselves in a way that triggers a flight or flight survival response, we're already setting ourselves up for failure. Either that, or we have to expend an astronomical amount of energy while simultaneously numbing ourselves in order to see something through. This takes a toll on you, not just your spirit, but it takes a toll on your body, your mental health. This is why a lot of neurodivergent folks hit many breaking points into their adulthood, so many intense, debilitating burnouts, chronic executive dysfunction, and it all stems from how we speak to ourselves. To simply put it, expectation is disabling you. And I know it sounds way too simple, but hear me out. How many of you guys struggle with feeling numb? How many of you guys struggle with feeling dread? How many of you guys struggle with apathy and dissonance? And do you experience all four of those things very often? Because if you struggle with feeling numb, dread, apathy, and dissonance, that's a really good indication that your driving force in life is meeting up to the expectations of external sources. And I'm here to tell you that as a neurodivergent person, that's not going to work. And you know that. You wouldn't be hitting so many burnouts if that wasn't true. You wouldn't be struggling so much if it wasn't true. And this is why a lot of neurodivergent adults become disabled, because there's a disconnection from their body and their neurology. They're telling themselves they have to do something, but their body feels like it's in danger. So now you have to choose. Do I sacrifice my well-being in order to go do this thing I have to do? Or do I honor myself and make sure that I feel safe, but I'm failing myself at the same time? I'm failing this responsibility. That's no way to live, because if human beings are simply wired to survive, we will choose our safety every time. And that's where we start to come across issues. When the responsibilities of taking care of ourselves dysregulates us so much that it makes us feel like we're in danger. And so in order to keep ourselves safe, we avoid doing the things that we should be doing in order to take care of ourselves. And so there's this weird contradiction where you choose yourself, avoid the task, avoid the responsibility, but by doing that, you're constantly neglecting yourself and your life. And this is why a lot of us struggle with feeling so hopeless. Because regardless of what we choose and what we do or what we don't do, we feel like we're constantly failing ourselves somehow, because we are. And so what's the answer? It's actually so much more simple than you guys think. And I want this to feel encouraging for you. I know it could feel frustrating because we may think to ourselves, if we haven't found the answer by now, it's because it's impossible. And so when someone like me comes on here and I say there's a very simple solution, I think this could trigger a lot of people, because they're like, what, you think we're dumb? You think we haven't tried? And it's just like, no, it's actually the opposite. We've been trying too hard. We've been searching too hard. The answer has been right in front of our faces the whole time. And we've been taught to not tune into that because we become our own blind spots. So when you're triggered, I encourage you to pause, and instead of projecting that onto me and making it feel like I'm blaming you for not realizing it yet, I want you guys to instead be understanding of yourselves and why you are the way that you are and how you got here, and understand that me sharing this isn't coming from a place where I think I know better. I only know this because I've been on the same boat. I'm struggling with the same things. In order for me to realize something, I have to also have had that experience. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of if this is easy, regardless of if this is fair, we have to be very mindful of what we're using to drive ourselves and our actions in our life. Because if not, we will be debilitated. It's that simple. It's that practical. So if people are used to using external expectations to drive themselves, I have to do this, I should be doing this, I need to be doing this, then how do we replace that framework with something that's a better match with our nervous system? Think about it this way. If external expectation is the core driving force to you in your life, I want you to imagine taking that battery, unplugging all of the wires, taking it out, setting it aside, and taking another battery, putting it in there, plugging things back in. And that new battery, that new core, that new driving force is called internal drive. So what's the difference between internal drive and external expectations? External expectations is what causes you to say, I have to, I need to, I should. Think about it. That wording, those phrases, it's not indicative of what you want, what you think is right, what resonates with you. It's extremely devoid of your humanity. You're considering what the norm is. You're considering what the expectations are. You're considering what the outcome is. You're considering what you have to do despite yourself. And I'm going to say it again and again. As neurodivergent folks, we cannot afford to live a life devoid of our humanity, our neurology, our needs, our nervous system. In order for us to become functional and to experience less debilitation, we need to integrate ourselves into the equation. And so when you're working with the operating system of internal drive, you're working from a place where you do something because you're inspired. You do something because it excites you. You're doing something because you feel a desire to. You do something because it feels aligned. Instead of saying, I should, I need to, I have to, you find yourself saying, I want to go do this. And it's that simple. I want to spend the day listening to podcasts and cleaning my house. I want to spend the day gardening. I want to spend the evening drinking tea and reading my new book while I'm wrapped up in my blanket. I want to spend the weekend cooking these recipes that I spent the week saving up. I want to go watch a movie with my niece and nephew. I want to take my dog to the dog park. I want to go camping with friends. I want to go visit family in another country. Whatever it is, you're doing something or you want to do something because of your genuine desire. It stems from this internal source of energy. And as neurodivergent people, when we work from that internal source of energy, we become unstoppable. That is how our brains are wired. When we take our neurology and we combine that with an internal drive, an internal desire to take action, your body and your brain starts to work symbiotically together rather than against each other. The simple solution is to introduce joy, pleasure, curiosity back into your lives, because all three of those things comes from your internal core self. I want to go learn this because I'm genuinely curious about it. I want to go do this because it aligns with my value system. I want to go try this out because I'm very passionate about it. Whatever it is, when it comes from a place of genuine, sincere joy, pleasure, curiosity, you don't have to force yourself to do anything. And that's the beauty of neurodivergence, is when it comes from a genuine, sincere place. When it comes from inside of us, that wave is so powerful that all you have to do is ride it all the way back to shore. And you don't even have to put effort to get yourself back to shore. We're all out here paddling on our little surfboards through all the waves, all of the heavy currents, all of the riptides, trying to get from the middle of the ocean back to the shore, when what would really make sense for us is just simply riding that wave of our genuine desire and curiosity back to shore. And when you do that, you'll find that you don't even want to stop. You just want to keep going. And that's what I want to see more neurodivergents tap into. That hyper focus, that state of flow where you could just keep going and going, where most people would give up or stop. You're just getting started. If anything, you catch a second wind, you catch a third, fourth wind, and then people look at you and they're like, how do you have all of this? How do you keep going? And what they don't realize is that when you do something because you genuinely want to, that source is endless. It's boundless, right? You don't have to keep mustering up the courage or the motivation to just go do something. You don't have to threaten yourself to get something done or else. You just keep going because you want to. You just keep going because you get to. And the crazy thing is, you feel nourished as you're expending energy rather than depleted. That's the key. That's something to look out for. A good way to know whether or not you're doing something because you want to or because you're telling yourself you have to is, one, are you saying I have to do this, I need to do this, or are you saying I want to do this, I get to do this? And two, do you feel depleted while you're doing it and you're constantly looking to avoid the thing or stop doing the thing? Or do you feel nourished and fulfilled? Therefore, you could just keep going and going and going. And if anything, you just don't want to stop. When you wake up in the morning, instead of telling yourself, oh, I have to go brush my teeth, I need a shower, I need to get ready for work, take a moment to tune into your body and ask yourself, what do you want to do? I'm really hungry. I really want to go make some eggs right now. I'm really hungry. I really want to go make that smoothie right now. And before you give yourself time to overthink it, just get up and go do it. Follow that genuine thread of desire. And then when you're done, simply think to yourself, what do I want to do next? Instead of laying in bed, paralyzed, thinking about every single thing you have to do that morning, and then having that pile of expectation weigh so heavily on your chest that you can't even muster up enough courage or motivation to get out of bed. And when you finally do, that gesture feels like a violation to your nervous system. You feel like life becomes an obligation that's forced upon you rather than something that you get to live, you get to experience. Do something because you want to do it. Make doing things enjoyable for yourself. Create experiences that you can immerse yourself into. And as you guys will start to see when you do that, you'll start to look forward to doing something rather than feeling as if there's just a never-ending list of obligations you have to tend to. If washing dishes would otherwise be a chore, what can you change about that experience to make it enjoyable for yourself? You have the freedom to experiment with that. It's okay and it's understandable to get to a point where life feels like a burden, but for your own sake, create a life for yourself. Create moments for yourself that aren't a burden. They're, if anything, reminders to yourself why you're so lucky that you're here. Take some time today to do something that's pleasurable to you, that brings you joy, that feels aligned with you. Do something because you want to. Do something because you get to. And with that being said, stay regulated, my friends. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.